Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Marcus DeAngelo, not of WrestleZone.com, just me as a human, and I'm joined by my slapdick brother Dominic DeAngelo, who is of WrestleZone.com. He's Dominic DeAngelo, and we guys are two Dynamite dudes with attitude coming to you with
How
a
many,
late
Mark?
show.
How many?
That would be two of them, Dominic. I fucking hate when you do that. But it's going to be two of us coming to you with a late night show. I'm not in the mood for Dominic's bullshit. I'm feeling tired, ornery,
Wow,
cranky.
Marcus. This is like the worst intro you could possibly give it.
I'm like red ass JR, Dom.
Damn, dude.
On Conrad's podcast. I am pumped up about being mean to you tonight.
You are surly as fuck right now.
Dude, JR came out aggressively toward Excalibur, which we're going to talk about here in a minute.
Oh, I'd be interested. I don't know what you're talking about.
It happened during the curtain jerker, man. But yeah, so you're going to get a little taste of that yourself tonight. Nesha, Steven, thanks for joining us, guys. We appreciate you being here. And we're ready to talk some damn Dynamite. Dominic, you ready?
Oh, I'm ready. I got the wrong banner up too right now, but yeah, dude. I thought it was a great go-home show. There was a little, maybe one or two speed bumps, I would think, but overall, very rock solid. What do you think?
I thought it was okay. I not the best I've seen by any means, but certainly not the worst I've seen. I've seen some pretty bad Dynamite since this thing started, and this is not one of them. Dominic, why don't we just jump in with both feet? We were talking about the opener there a little bit. Let's talk about Darby Allin, and let's talk about his match against Caesar. What is it? His last name is Bonini?
Bonini, I believe, yes.
Yes. And what is the name of the group, Dominic? Caesar Bonini's group. Do you know?
Oh my gosh, I was trying to think of that too because I was writing it. And
right, they've got like some really silly group name. Maybe
it's like I know they're doing like a summer thing or something. JR was like, and JR is kind of like, what the fuck is that?
That's where Red Ass JR came out because Excalibur was like they are waxed, vaxxed, and ready for Hot Boy Summer. And JR was like, what in the hell is that? Can you imagine Bill Watts putting up with that bullshit?
Yeah, they'd be like, oh my gosh. Bill Watts would be like, get that shit off my television.
I think Bill Watts would drag Excalibur just into a broom closet and just whoop his ass. But in any case, I thought that it was a decent opener for the match. I'm not going to say it was a great match by any means. It was really more about kind of building, this idea that Darby Allin, no matter what kind of a force he's up against, he's a viable opponent for anybody. Caesar Bonini is not a small dude by any means. And, Darby came out there and gave it his all and won the match. So I think that it was part of pushing that storyline forward. And then, of course, the attack at the end, pushing forward getting us pumped up for the pay-per-view and Sting's first match in 6 years, Dominic.
Yeah, in the ring, live, in front of people, in front of me. I'm going to be there. It's crazy to think that. But, yeah, man. I thought, you're very much right, though. It was purpose. I mean, obviously, it's to get Darby over from he lost the title, but now he's building back up to getting, he still has that scrappy, fight from down under mentality and did it. And I thought Caesar Bonini was a good opponent to have for him to go against. Good opener. And then we get a little bit more later on. So, I thought it was a good way to kind of kick it off. And again, dude, Marcus, a big takeaway I think from this show tonight, just having a live crowd back like that spoke volumes.
It was electric in Daly's place for this thing, and man, it was something to see. Now, I did want to ask your opinion, Dominic. We don't know the name of this group. Maybe Steven or Nesha can smarten us up here, but why, Dominic? They've got this JD Drake guy that I really like. He reminds me of just old school, like Dick Murdoch, not taking any bullshit kind of a guy. And it's just like, hey, let's throw him in with these guys who are into tanning and waxing. Hang on a second. Let me shut off my dehumidifier.
Oh, it's another run-in by your air conditioner or humidifier.
Dude, the humidity in my basement is the ultimate heal of my life right now.
Well, Marcus, maybe wearing a tassel hat is not helping matters.
It is freezing down here.
Oh, it's freezing. I thought you said it was humid.
Oh, it's humid. Like there's humidity, but it's cold, Dom.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Icebox.
We had to run in from the Iceman, Dean Malenko.
I know. We'll talk about that. I didn't even mention that last week on the show when I was doing it solo, but it was cool to see him, and really cool that he's kind of incorporated in the storyline too. But
anyways, Dom, you're a hipster. Let's talk about this hipster group.
Yeah, that's kind of like a, it makes sense for those guys, but it doesn't make sense for JD Drake, really. I mean, I guess that's kind of the point, but I think they could position him a little bit better, from this. I'm just more for like Ryan Nemeth and Cesar Bonini as something like this. But I don't know. I'm not a fan. I'm kind of having the reaction that JR is having overall.
What in the hell is that? I'm not crazy, or I don't mind Peter Avalon being involved in it, but come on now, like JD Drake, like he's old school to the bone. So what are you doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Nesha is happy she's never caught our show before, Dominic. She hates it so far. No, I don't think that's what she means. We're glad you guys are here. Actually, let's hammer on to the next segment, Dominic, because this was something that I thought was really cool. I really enjoyed the weigh-in. What did you think?
Did you? So, okay, they got some real negative feedback on.
Well, I think a lot of that had to do with Paul White, which we'll touch on. But the idea of a weigh-in in the first place, I thought was great. I think it hypes this match really well.
Okay, because I think so. What I liked about it, this is what I liked about it, is there was no hijinks. I liked that. Nearing the end, though, it just kind of felt like they were floating there almost, like what's going on here. They're standing there celebrating in the ring, and then Cody basically, it almost feels like it's like the show goes off the air and then he thanks the fans kind of thing. That's what it felt like, But I did like
covering for awkwardness. I think that Cody grabbed the mic because he's an assertive person, and there was like a lot of awkwardness out there. He's like, okay, we got to wrap up this segment, and he just like grabbed the mic and like it was very awkward, weird sign off.
Yes. Yeah, no, it was weird. It was a little weird, but I kind of really appreciated that they didn't do anything crazy. And you know what? QT was pretty good on the mic. I liked some of the he's like, oh, he's heavier than Cody. He's gonna win. Why are you cheering Cody? I said he's gonna win.
Right. I thought it was really, I thought he did a great job. He's really kind of come out and started to look really good. Basically shown all of his best stuff since he became a heel. So I've really enjoyed that. But, Dom, I think the real highlight of that segment is just Anthony Ogogo in general, where it's just like he's this like hateable, cocky, like douchebag, but he also comes off like he's a legit athlete, and it's like this dude would probably kick the crap out of most people on the roster. So it really feels like Cody has to kind of slay a dragon here. So I mean, I feel myself like acting like a mark whenever this is happening, where I'm like, no, dude, like Cody's American, like he's got to come out there. Like I catch myself doing that. I'm like, come on now. But like they're reeling me in.
Yeah.
So I like the angle. Watching Paul White fumble with the
scale.
With the scale, that was a rough scene. That was hard to watch.
It was like Marcus. It was like me when I was at Allan Poe with the door.
Oh my God. None of you know what he's referencing, so I'll just give you the Reader's Digest version real quick. Dominic played Edgar Allan Poe, and it was in this old house. And he had to
New Jersey.
He had to lift this door to get up into like an attic for the next scene that we were doing. He was like the host, and he was walking us through the house. He had to lift this door, and the door was stuck, and he couldn't get it. And some lady had to come over and help him push it open.
I stayed in character, though. I did do that.
Remained in kids. I appear to lack the upper body strength.
I'm a sickly man.
I'm intoxicated. Anyways, we hammer on.
The Baltimore libations have gotten hold of me.
Dom, that's just saying it was weird, and it was weird at times, but I think that the idea was a good idea, right? I like the idea of a weigh-in. It's like old school boxing, and it's also it had like these Rocky versus like Clubber Lang vibes, where it's just like, dude, Clubber Lang is a savage. How is Rocky going to beat this guy?
Marcus, did you think when they were doing this weigh-in, I started thinking about this, was like, okay, there's a reason Paul White's hosting this. And, I kept thinking back to Floyd Mayweather and him at WrestleMania. So I was like, Ogogo's going to slug him, like in the liver. I thought that was going to happen.
That's what should have happened. And again, it's gonna like build Ogogo as like this, like, okay, he's not a massive guy by any means. He's about Cody's size,
Yeah.
but it's like this liver punch situation of his is just devastating. So I was like, you punch Paul White. I was like super excited about it. So I really want him to do it, and he never did. So I was bummed out. But just like imagine you see him nail Paul White, and even if Paul White just goes down to a knee and Ogogo walks away, it's just like Cody might be fucked.
And it would be added emphasis if Paul dropped an F-bomb, like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. were they bleeping?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, man.
I did, dude. I thought that certainly would have put it over the edge, but again, the idea was good. Execution, as Nesha here says, didn't play out how they expected it to.
Yeah, yeah. Anthony asks, who do you guys think wins, Anthony versus Cody, and who do you want to win? Marcus.
You know, that's one of the fascinating things about this angle, because it's like essentially it boils down to what notion you subscribe to when it comes to pro wrestling, right? Where it's like, okay, we've got an established star, it's Memorial Day, and he's being the American dream. So do you put him over, or you've got this rising star in Anthony Ogogo? It would be a huge notch in his belt if he got a win over Cody. Do you put him over? So it kind of depends on which notion you subscribe to when it comes to pro wrestling. Me personally, even though I love Anthony Ogogo and I think he's an awesome heel so far, I think Cody kind of has to win because he's honoring his father, and it's Memorial Day, and it's Cody Rhodes. He's the face of the company. What do you think?
Who, man, Mark? Yeah, you know what? Like, I'm thinking from how the story like could get played out. Obviously, they set up the pins to get knocked down. It's Memorial Day weekend, American Dream, legacy between that and everything. Plus, like, I don't know, Cody spoke about his promo, bringing people together. Like, that was his goal and intention, was to do that. And so there's a lot that, like, kind of stakes in regards to saying that. But, there's also very big incentive, too, where Cody is Teflon. Like, he could take a loss and it could be like a jaw-dropping kind of loss for him. But, like, how big would that put Anthony Ogogo over too? Oh, man, that's tough. Like,
this is the thing that makes this AEW and what they're doing some of the most compelling stuff in wrestling right now. Because it's like, who do you put over? Like, who should go over? I truly don't know. A lot of the time when it comes to modern wrestling, you can kind of predict what finish is going to happen and when it's going to happen. But, like, with something like this, who knows? Hard to say.
Right. Geez, I want to give a prediction, but I want to see. I'm really interested to see what Cody does with the American Dream moniker here. Like, what more are we going to see in reference to his dad or certain things like that? How is he going to convey that? What's going to be different? And then, but, like, I don't know, man. I think I could get behind either one, honestly. For, like, Ogogo's getting the rub if they do it well, that even in a loss. But, I'm okay with either thing happening, I think, Mark.
Well, Mike Freeland is saying he thinks Cody's going to put over Ogogo, which again makes sense to me. But I'm sticking with Nesha here. She's saying I'm picking Cody to win. I agree with her. I think that Cody's gonna go over, and it's we're all gonna get it's like the Hulk Hogan finish back in the day. God damn it, Hogan must flex. Where, like, it's, hey man, it's America, and this is Memorial Day, and Cody's the American dream. All the pieces just fit. So I'm going with Cody winning, just because I'm a traditionalist when it comes to wrestling. Dominic, why don't you go ahead and read Anthony's question here?
Sure, yeah. So Anthony says, do you guys think the Good Brothers get involved in the match with the Young Bucks and the Wild Things, and he and Kingston and John Moxley? And do you like the name with the tag team with Eddie and John? Oh, I like it. Absolutely. I like the name, especially, rolls with the music, which noted Tony Khan bought the rights to Wild Things, but not the Trogs version, but the Major League version with where Wild Thing Rick Vaughn comes out to that version. So that's kind of neat. Yeah, I like the tag team name. Do I think the Good Brothers get involved? That's a really great point. It would be a good out for them. And you know what? If they did if they lost the Bucks, then that could branch off into a feud with the Good Brothers. I could see that happening. Yeah, I just really like, man, I guess we should talk about this right now, is that promo, dude. Like where they're burying the Dior's and Moxie calling them Rod and Todd fucking Flanders. I popped for that major. And then Marcus Maniunk, he mentions our old stomping grounds where we lived.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. Maniunk, just north of Philadelphia. So it's pretty cool to hear something like that, where Dominic and I lived for a couple years. 2 years. So maybe when they rolled into Maniunk to whoop somebody's ass, Dom, we were there.
We were at what was the name of that Irish bar that, oh man, that was like real broski. And
I don't know.
You don't remember?
No. I don't know. And I don't think anybody in the chat gives a.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, so I thought it was cool. Did anybody else's TV go to commercial by accident?
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, was that just me? Because it was weird. And then they like had to restart it. But no, I thought it was good, and I love the name of their tag team. I do think that the Good Brothers are going to interfere. But my prediction is that Mox and Kingston overcome it and they go over in this match and win the titles.
Okay, I like that. That's something I would ultimately like to see, because I think, you're going to have Kenny keep the title. That's not going to change hands. You're not going to change the title from Miro. I think Britt's going to win the belt against Cheetah. We can talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, I think that adds a little bit more variety happening if you have Mox and Kingston win. And, I think you can still, it doesn't hurt the Bucks at all for that to happen. Bucks have been really good as heels, by the way. I know you weren't here last week, but it's just like, they're doing a very good job, and they're not here. They weren't on the show this week for the go home, but man, I love what the Young Bucks are doing. It's great contrast between them and Eddie, because they're doing some great babyface work. That what Eddie said too about the locker room and all that stuff really cut into the core of like, hey, guys aren't working and I'm working, and John and I are working. We're representing everybody, kind of thing. So I think that was really, really cool. Very well done. I love them as a tandem, dude.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I want to go back here to something that Steven has said. But first, do you think Mike Freeland is asked, do you think the Young Bucks not appearing in a segment with Mox and Kingston hurt the build-up? A little bit. I'm not saying that they necessarily had to appear in that pre-tape, but not seeing the Bucks come out and retaliate in some way, I think it's kind of wrestling 101, right? Where you're building this angle, and then it's like these guys are attacking each other, cheap shotting each other, doing things to one another. So maybe a little bit. I don't necessarily know that it's going to have a major impact on the match, but I think it's something interesting to think about. Dom, let's jump up there to Steven. Yes, think we will have any surprises at Double or Nothing match. Speculation: Andrade will be in the match. That would be something, wouldn't it?
Would be something. Mm-hmm.
According to that Flair pop-up podcast with Conrad Thompson, Andrade has an upcoming match with Kenny Omega. Sometime in the near future.
Triple Mania. So
right.
Yeah.
So there's certainly a connection there. I would not put it past AEW to bring in a talent like that. Or, by the way, I wouldn't be surprised to see New Japan talent come in. How about Yuji Nagata? He certainly got enough of a reaction.
He did. I think fans are going to expect somebody new. And if you asked me last week who was going to do the run-in or who was going to be the surprise entry, it would have been Paul White. But it just doesn't seem like that now. I don't have that vibe anymore.
Yeah, kind of hard to say. But I'm probably Andrade is where I'm going with it. We'll move on, but first, Nesha is hating that the Young Bucks are heels. She loves the Young Bucks, but she does feel that the Bucks will lose on Sunday. Yeah. And I agree fully. I think they've held the belts for long enough. I think that Kingston and Omega are kind of ready to be flag bearers in that department, so could be interesting.
Marcus, this is a great point by DJ here. Mm-hmm. You think that Kazarian will get involved in the tag title match because of his promo that he gave after him and Daniel split up, saying that he has new agenda now? Listen, I think that's a great way to get the belts off the Bucks and onto Eddie and Mox. If you have, whether he plays evens the odds for Mox and Eddie, because Anthony, I think, mentioned that the Good Brothers may be getting involved. If you have Kaz come in and screw them over, I think that'd be pretty damn cool. And like it plays to his storyline more so.
Yeah.
Marcus, you missed it last week. I was talking about how I want to get more Max Payne vibes from Frankie Kazarian, like just going on this solo run of like knocking off the Elite one by one. I think
Revenge tour.
Yeah, revenge tour, baby.
I get it.
Yeah.
One more here. Before we move on, you guys can by all means keep asking questions. I think it's awesome.
Yes.
Anthony has said, question, are they building Kenny as a delusional world title holder where the title's going straight to his head? He thinks he's bigger than the company because he's champion. Absolutely. I keep calling him Cokehead Kenny, where he's just like, he seems like he got success. He's making all the money, and like he's very erratic and crazy acting now. So it's like he's using all the money that he made to buy a bunch of coke, and so it's I love this version of Kenny Omega. I think it's the best that he's been in AEW so far. I think he should always be a heel. He's nailing it.
He is nailing it, and like we've been talking about too, he's I think right behind Roman Reigns is the top heel in wrestling right now. And
Chris Jericho says he's the best wrestler in the world. After JR made a comment about Randy Orton being the best wrestler in the world, and I'm a little bit compelled to agree with Jericho here. Kenny's not the traditional wrestler that Randy Orton is, but I think from an entertainment standpoint, it's really hard to beat him right now.
You just kind of factor in certain things like what. Again, it's like wrestling here is subjective. So it's like you see there's an argument to be made for Randy Orton being one of the best, if not the best. Argument for Kenny too. It's just like matters what you like, how the style is done. And, from a personality standpoint though, like Kenny's really doing something right now. And Randy can be compelling at some points, but it's also like we've seen it.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like there's a lot to weigh in with it, and and no answer is wrong or right either. So
it's a subjective art form. Something I don't feel very subjective about Dominic, Joey Janela. I'll say this: he takes some awesome bumps. I love the way that he bumps in the ring, but that's about all I care about him. I think that him being kind of a jobber to the stars might be the exact role for him in AEW.
So how did you like it? How did you like it tonight then against Hangman?
I thought he is a good jobber for the star. Nice job getting. Helping to get Hangman Page over. Hangman Page Dominic is a star. I think he needs to be pushed to the moon. Him continuing to cut a promo after the match as blood is just spilling down his face. Yeah, it was awesome.
Cool. Fucking cool. And like, you know what? Like Cage was just sharp on the mic too. So him coming back and fired up and being like, listen, you want me not to have these guys? I accept, like that kind of thing. And just him and Hangman going back and forth. There was just synergy there that was really, really good. And one of my favorite aspects of tonight's show actually was where those two going back and forth.
Yeah, and I enjoyed the incredibly thinly veiled steroid reference that the Hangman Page made toward Christian or Brian Cage. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did get that. Oh yeah,
about his balls shrinking all the way.
Yeah,
like, boy, rough.
Guys, we'll get to your questions here soon. Keep filling them up, and we'll address them.
Well, you know what? I'll address one right now, Dominic, because as much as I love Jade Cargill, I didn't get much when it came to her match. So let's go ahead and answer this question. What do you guys think of Cargill picking Sterling for her manager? I love it, but I love the Major Wrestling Figure podcast, and Sterling is he helps facilitate that podcast. So I've been a fan of his for a while now, so it's cool to see him on national TV, kind of getting his push. Everybody out there trying to make as much money as they can in as short a period of time as possible. So I'm glad it's looking like he might be able to get his. But Cargill, Dom, I mean, what a physical presence. We say it week after week, but week after week she impresses.
Yeah, she really does. And like, again, she like right now, she doesn't have to do a whole lot to do that in the ring. I mean, but she just got a great look, knows how to handle herself. Just the confidence exudes out there. And I think, for me, it's like, I want to see more of how this is going to go with Sterling. So far, I do kind of like it, but I want to see more. But like I'm willing to be patient with that too, because it just started. So Jade is so good, and just like adds to the women's division, like from like different personas and everything like that. She adds to the growing roster of the women's division coming up. So yes.
And what a cool way to start the match. Something I don't know that I've ever seen in a women's match is they start the match with a test of strength.
Yeah.
Jade gets to show her stuff, and it's just, I don't know, different angles of this, and I just think it's really cool. Steven is saying Cargill is going to be a future champion. Nesh is not crazy about her.
Yeah.
Mike likes her, it seems. So I mean, it seems like generally speaking, everybody likes her and is behind her. So I'm excited to see where she goes, and she's got a good mouthpiece there with Mark Sterling. So I think it's going to help a lot. Anyways, going back to Hangman Page and Brian Cage, DJ Cassidy is saying, I kind of see Cage leaving Team Taz if he can't beat Page. Me too. And I think
it's going to happen.
I think that's the inevitable conclusion here, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, they dangled the carrot a couple of months back or so, like that, when Cage was pushing back against Team Taz, and being like not really agreeing with what they did, and then Sting seeing potential in Cage and stuff like that. I think that kind of like lured him in after the Revolution match. It all kind of started then. So yeah, I think that's the proper route it should go, and I think we've had those teases, and there's going to be a bit of a payoff here coming soon after.
It got to be after all those teases, otherwise what was the point in having that dissension among them, right?
Yeah, exactly. So no, I'm with you on that one, Mark, and guys. I think that's the way to handle it, no doubt.
All right, let's hammer on to. Oh wait, we got another question. Cage face turn has been building for some time. This will be brutal, but will end in a handshake.
Yeah, I agree with Mike right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. Hangman Page, you and I were saying for a while there that they kind of ruined him with this whole like.
Oh, you were saying. Well, we were both saying. Never mind.
Yeah, you were in on that, like the borderline alcoholism thing.
Lonely, sad Hangman.
Right, where they were just kind of ruining him. But I mean, he's trending upward, Dominic, and the imagery of him bleeding profusely and just continuing to cut a promo was great stuff.
Fucking cool. You want to? Very cool. Absolutely, man.
All right, let's hammer on to the segment with Pac, Orange Cassidy, and Kenny Omega. So Pac comes out and cuts a promo. He's soon attacked by Kenny Omega, kind of gets the better of him, but the Good Brothers even the odds. Pac gets his ass whooped. Then Orange Cassidy comes out, knocks out Kenny, and then Pac gets his ass whooped some more. So I don't know that Pac necessarily came out of this looking very good. But certainly an interesting segment, and I'm not normally crazy about three-way matches, but I don't know. I feel like this one could get pretty interesting. How to begin? I'm a little bit critical of Orange Cassidy, as you know, week after week on the show, but like I enjoyed him in that segment.
I did too. I really did want to see him talk, because I think that's like we don't get that. You know what I mean? So, mm-hmm. I mean, as a build to the match, I thought that was going to be part of it, and we didn't get that. But I did like ultimately like him, like handing Kenny the envelope that had his name originally X'd out a couple times, because I don't know if it was like misspelled or he just didn't give a shit. And then he pulls out the shreds and stuff. I thought that was pretty clever. And then with Pac, I liked Pac. Like, he really packed a punch with being on the mic starting off. And I think Pac is really going to be a highlight of this match. Especially, it's an indicator that since he did get downed a couple times on this, I think that's an indicator that we'll see more from Pac in the match. And then it's a little bit telegraphed too, in a lot of ways, by Orange getting the upper hand on both of them. Like, so maybe we're not going to see. Obviously, I think Kenny's going to retain, but I think it kind of further telegraphed that, by how Orange capped it off at the end there.
I agree that Kenny's going to retain, and you can make the argument that Pac is one of the top 5 wrestlers on the face of the planet. I think he's unbelievable in the ring. So it's no matter how you slice it, this match is going to be good. I don't think there's any other way. Steven Chambers said a little bit earlier, Dom, if Cage loses and gets fired by Taz, think we may see Samoa Joe.
I don't know about on Team Taz though, right? Well, maybe, because they have those ties. from
Why not?
Impact, right?
Why not?
Yeah.
Not to mention, what about we've got a mystery entrant here? Uh,
I see. I don't think he's eligible yet. Maybe he is. From a contractual standpoint, he might have like the 90-day thing, and I'm pretty sure he probably does, knowing WWE. So
yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good point. Kind of forgot about the non-compete.
Marcus, look at did you see this one by Anthony? Dom, can you kind of surprised that AEW hasn't created a junior heavyweight title with the amount of cruiserweights they have on the roster? Marcus is surprised, or he wants one for sure. And
Week after week, it's my shtick. I say, that Matt Sydal, he'd look really good as an AEW Cruiserweight champion. How about Jungle Boy? And I love the idea of a Cruiserweight championship there. I just think it would give some of the undercard guys something to strive for on their way to trying to get a TNT title shot or a world title shot. It was a good way to get Rey Mysterio over, a good way to get Eddie Guerrero over, a good way to get Chris Jericho over back in the day. So why not use it to get some of these younger talent over right now?
Yeah. Well, Marcus, you think about it too. Hey, AEW Rampage next year, the second show. So I mean, there could be some incentive to have another title in the mix there.
No question about it. Hey, so DJ Cass here has also mentioned here, are they building Cassidy to be the new champ? I am kind of going for Pac in this match because he does more in the ring than Cassidy does. So, as I said before, I'm usually pretty critical of Orange Cassidy, but undeniable reaction from the crowd out there. When he kind of turned the tide on Pac, after already getting his knockout on Kenny, and then he does the same thing to Pac. I mean, that was a big pop that he got. So Tony Khan loves him already. So I know that Tony Khan is hearing this pop because you'd have to be deaf not to.
Yeah.
So, I don't know that I think that Dominic's correct. I think that Kenny Omega is going to go over in the pay-per-view match, but I think that Orange Cassidy is certainly trending upward.
This is going to be a little tease of like a ghost run, if you will, of Orange Cassidy being AEW World Champ. This is just the tease to later on. I think we'll see him back in the mix again with it. But at this moment in time, Kenny's gonna get the win somehow, underhandedly, and that's where we're gonna go from there. And Nesha says Hangman is the man to beat Kenny for the belt. I agree with her. Either him or there was somebody else that we were talking about, I think a couple of weeks ago, that would be a good person to top Kenny at some point. Oh, I think were we saying Daniel Bryan if he was ever going to be in the mix?
Ooh, wouldn't that be something?
That'd be something there.
Nesha is also referencing my cruiserweight division. It's her favorite division. Steven is suggesting Pillman Jr. as a cruiserweight champion. That would be that would be unbelievable. So there's just a lot of directions that you can move, So I say why not do it? It doesn't hurt anything to add this belt. I think it would only improve. What do we have here from Mike?
Mike says, I expect Joe will return to Impact in June and be the next challenge Kenny after his Moose feud. I think that's a really good point too. All things considered, like why in the world would WWE release Samoa Joe is the question. And a lot of people are speculating, hey, is he injured more so? Than is that why? Because why would you release Samoa Joe? I mean,
bad neck, it got to be it. So is he going to be any use in the ring? Will he ever wrestle again? It's hard to say. I think that we can all fantasy book it and certainly hope. But we're not going to know until the time comes. Dominic, how about DJ's question here? What about Del Rio being the surprise entrant? He's apparently out of prison, looking for work. Also heard about Mil Muertes as an entrant. I can't picture Del Rio after all the things that have been said about him getting a job on any major promotion in America again.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mark. That some of that stuff, whether it was found to be real or not, was real bad. So I can't imagine people going that route with Del Rio.
The thing is, as a worker, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but as a worker, I remember being hyped about Del Rio coming into WWE back in the day. They did awesome vignettes for him.
Yeah.
Came in, he looked like $1 million. He was a good worker. So, like, on paper, it would be awesome to have him come in as Alberto Del Patron or whatever he was calling himself. I think it would be awesome. But no, I don't think he's ever going to get a job in America again. I would love to see somebody like Enzo Amore as the surprise entrant. I think that would be a lot of fun.
People, could you imagine the talk that would get to? Because people, I mean, good and bad, like it, but hey, that's what he would be. So I think he would be a very great addition, actually,
yeah.
And, I think I said before that I was like, oh, there's too much people, or like, it might be a little tough. I think Enzo, you could definitely make some room for it.
I don't see why not. I would, another guy, probably this guy above everybody else. If I had it my way, I'd love to see Joe Hennig come in.
Marcus, I like Joe Hennig a lot. I really do. And I think he needs something more so where they ease him in. Like he's not slated to be a big surprise, because if you put him in that position, I think you're setting him up to kind of fail in certain ways, because I don't think fans will be like, oh, Joe Hennig, we like him. He's got the legacy behind him. But I think, Marcus, what would benefit Joe Hennig is if you did what you just talked about with Del Rio, those vignettes, and had him vignettes. Thank you, vignettes, and had it be week after week. You build to him, and like people know that he's coming, but you position him in the right light. That it's not like, okay, they're expecting a surprise, and then they get Joe Hennig, who we haven't seen cut a promo, we haven't seen do anything like that. Now, I just think it would benefit him a little bit more in that regard if that was somebody you're going to bring into AEW or any promotion for that matter.
Well, I think you make a good point. And, I keep making the pitch that Joe Hennig has a claim to being the first family of wrestling as well. He's a third generation wrestler. So it's a natural feud with Cody Rhodes, possibly. So it's certainly a lot to think about. I think you make a good point, though. Probably a lot of people, when they hear surprise entrant, they want some big name. Steven is saying Davey Boy Smith Jr. Anthony mentioned Jacob Fatu. So, I mean, man, they're...
So...
Fatu probably not, right?
Fatu probably not. Same with Mil Muertes, because they are both in MLW, and it's just MLW is remaining its own brand for right now. I mean, not necessarily, because they've brought in some New Japan guys and they brought in AAA people, so they do have that kind of synergy and connection. But I think from a different promotion of working, whether it was with WWE, there was rumors about that. And obviously they have a kind of an indirect connection with AEW by the other promotions that they work with. But it's like there's a certainly I think a good mindset to have about like, hey, this is our title, this is what we're going for. And so I think that kind of gets in the mix there.
Hey, Don, Mike Freeland is asking about the old Manser.
Oh, old Manser.
You think he'll wind up over there? Your bud.
Now he would be a good one. Because I tell you what, like, if he's got like that Orange Cassidy kind of chemistry, like, or with the fans, that kind of connection where it's just like you get him in the right light, he could catch on like fire real quick. And heck, Tony Khan, you pick a good theme for him. I'm telling you, what you pick is Bob Dylan's what is it? Oh my gosh, it's that. It's like Homesick, not Homesick, but something blues. Like, Subterranean Blue, Homesick Blues, or something like that. That's the theme you got to get for Mance Warner. And like, dude, you get him out there and he's just like brawls. He's like that working man's kind of like ass kicking, old school kind of dude.
Sounds like he'd fit in with Moxley and Kingston a little bit.
Right? Like he would. And he would be a neat kind of contrast to them too, because they're both like, Mox from Cincy and Eddie's from New York. You get Mance from Tennessee, Bucksnort, Tennessee. And like, it's like a kind of cool trio dynamic. That'd be awesome, man. I think, yeah, that's a great suggestion, Mance. I love old Mancer.
So Anthony wants us to read the thing that he mentioned before here. Let's have a look.
Yeah.
He said, Marcus, my hope with the Wild Things with John and Eddie is they make a stable. And since he's already having issues with Kenny on Impact, bring Sammy over and put Frankie and maybe Adam. Sure. Or how about Mance Warner?
Yeah.
We just mentioned him. I think he'd be a lot of fun in that group. It's just like this kind of like blue collar, like the sort of dude you'd sit down next to at a bar, kind of a guy. I think it'd be a lot of fun to see him pair up with those two, which are cut from the same cloth. Oh, dude, Mike is saying, how about Mance Warder feuding with Hangman Page? Could be a lot of fun.
That would be a lot of fun. Oh man, that would be a good tag team too.
You open up a lot of options. Plus, I know that Conrad Thompson is a big supporter of Mance Warner's, so it's like this guy's got a lot of backing, behind him. A lot of people that love what he does. So bring his ass in.
Heck yeah, brother. Heck yeah, man.
So let's move on to a guy that I am blown away by, Dominic. I'd like to talk about Miro.
How about that, huh, Marcus? We rewind the tape back a month, and both of us are a little like, what's going on here? Now it's like, well, I'm with you, man. Miro's great, and he's doing a very, very good job. I liked his promo last week. How much of it? I know you're away. Did you catch any of Dynamite last week?
Yep, I did. And when he first came in, I actually made the comment they should never give him a live mic because his first promo sucked. And so I was like, oh, okay, so he's got this incredible look. It looks like he's pretty good in the ring, but he can't talk. Well, wrong. I was wrong. He's great on the mic. He is exactly what he's supposed to be right now, which is just like this dominant, terrifying, but kind of cowardly heel, right? JR had this great reaction whenever he got into the ring and flexed and his traps were like enormous. JR was just like, look at this guy. Like, I think it was a genuine reaction from JR. Like, could you imagine being across the ring from that fucking dude?
Yeah.
He's got it all. If properly positioned, you could drop Miro into any generation of wrestling. I'm talking back when Bruno Sammartino was on top, Hogan, name it. If he's properly positioned, he is a superstar in any generation of pro wrestling. Just imagine. I think WWE dropped the ball with him. Like, just imagine.
Oh yeah.
Imagine if Rusev was the one who retired Kurt Angle. Imagine if Rusev had been the one to defeat The Undertaker at WrestleMania or conquer Brock Lesnar. I think that the list goes on, and all of them would have been viable options that would have gotten him over big time.
And you think about how hot that, even like where they weren't pushing him, and that Rusev Day was such an over shtick that, like, fans wanted to get behind him. They were ready to, and Vince just did not fucking do it.
Right.
Did not do it.
They just crapped on him and put him in stupid angles with that Bobby Lashley crap.
Yeah, I was just about to say that fucking horrible angle.
Ran him out of the business over there.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad to see him doing what he's doing. I don't think that there's any way that he loses at this pay-per-view. I think you would have to be blind not to see what this guy's got going on.
So Anthony says, do you think they might be building Lance Archer, the Murder Hawk Monster, to be the tweener or face superstar to beat Miro down the road? I think they maybe might meet up. I don't think Lance is going to lose clean tomorrow or on Sunday. At least I hope they don't do that to him. Because I tell you what, Marcus, that promo, that behind the scenes promo that he and Jake did, I called it intensely smooth, was Lance Archer on the mic there behind there. I think he's really finding his groove more so with the promos and getting that opportunity and making the most of them. And I like him as a babyface. I think something's going to happen where Lance does not win the title. And I don't know if it's going to be a feud down the road, but maybe it will be. Maybe it will have something to that effect will happen. But I'd just like to see Lance be utilized a little bit better. Well, I think they're positioning him right now, but like I'm saying more so from the past out where he's been like out of the limelight for weeks on end, and then he shows up. I really like kind of the direction that Lance is taking, and I hope they keep building that momentum behind him. How about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I want to see what else he has to offer. At this point, it feels like he's kind of spinning his wheels a little bit, where it's, I mean, like you could take the pre-tape promo that Lance Archer did this week and just sub it in a year ago on Dynamite and would have been essentially the same effect as it's always had, right? Just a different storyline, different person he's competing against. So I feel like he is not evolving. And he's got a great thing. He's got a great look. I love him paired up with Jake. Like, it was interesting out of the gate, but now it's like, okay, what are we doing?
I think they need to. I think Lance is good on his own. And I think Jake can benefit from being with a heel, and being the mouthpiece for a heel. Because I think Lance is on a babyface route right now. And I that's where I disagree with you on that, because I think there is something different about Lance, and it's being a babyface. And I just really like the mic work he's doing. And I think that match on Sunday, it might be one of the highlights of the show when it's all said and done.
I'm just gonna say, though, you've got a big scary guy, Miro's big scary guy. The disparity between the two of them, though, as far as skill is concerned, it's an ocean's worth of a divide, in my opinion. Where Miro has got this X factor, where it's like he could be the biggest star in pro wrestling, if they do things right. Like, I'm talking like Goldberg level selling merchandise, if they do it right. So I just don't see that with Lance Archer as much. So to me, it's an easy choice. Miro goes over. But how do you position Lance Archer to bounce back? I want to touch on something that's funny. Mike Freeland is saying, love Jake, but he needs to stop dressing like everybody's uncle who shops at Marshall's. To me, Jake looks like he walks into the seamstress's office and he's like, so I found this shirt at Goodwill, but then I've also got this snake pattern. I'm wondering if you can combine them. And the lady's like, I get it. It's going to look terrible, but I'll see what I can
All right.
Well, damn it, I got demons.
Marcus, back to that point though. I do think, Miro should win on Saturday. I just feel like I'd really just, me, I like Lance a lot. So
I know you like Lance Archer. I like him too. I want to see more out of him. But it's hard because he's such a big, kind of like a nasty character that he theoretically should be positioned as a heel. So that because how do you get heat on a guy like that as a baby face? He's too damn big.
There was somebody I was like, he would be great to pair up with. Who did I mention that a while back? I was like, that would be a great tandem where you could make them ass kicking.
Well, I think you had mentioned John Moxley before.
Oh, maybe that was it. Yeah.
Well, how about that? Let's bring in Mance Warner. Let's get Lance Archer with those guys, and they'll all be the Wild Things.
There we go. I like it.
Can't you picture a pre-tape with all those guys sitting at the bar together and Jake's smoking a cigarette, drinking a club soda with him?
Yeah. Well, here you go. Anthony says, Marcus, when I look at Mance Warner, he reminds me a little bit of Sandman when it comes to his style of wrestling. And if you don't like the comparison, give me a better one. What do you think?
Better one. Yeah, I don't know. It's like if the Sandman had a baby with Dick Murdoch, maybe.
That's pretty good.
Something like that. So that's about as close as I can get.
Had a wrestling child.
Right. Hang on, let's read a couple more of these. Go ahead, Dom.
Let's see. I feel like they know Lance is okay. Luke here says, I feel like they know Lance is a star, but with still building company the way they want. Honestly, they don't want to push him just to have him lose. Yes, I agree. See, I don't think he'll lose on Saturday, on Sunday, but something's going to happen. Something's going to happen where it's because that's the thing that they have been doing with Lance is when he does lose, it's not necessarily straight laced. Something does happen because he is a monster and that kind of thing. So,
yeah, I agree with Anthony here. I don't want to think about how that baby got made, but that's what it makes me think of.
Yeah.
But in any case, let's bounce back to Steven. He said, if nobody beats Miro, why not put him against Omega? Thing is, Miro's a heel, obviously. Omega's a heel. So if I were booking, if Tony Khan said, "Hey Marcus, you handle Miro's his creative from here on," the way I would do it, to get Miro over is have him dominate with the TNT Championship for like 8 months. And in the meantime, you probably switch the belt from Kenny over to some babyface champion and have Miro start gunning for that guy. Have Miro win both the belts, vacate the TNT title, and just position Miro as this unstoppable force until finally somebody comes along who can stop him. In my opinion, should be somebody like Cody Rhodes, who's already the face of the company.
Or Samoa Joe.
Or somebody like Samoa Joe. I mean, there's a lot of options, but like if it were up to me, Miro would go undefeated for like 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really see anything wrong with that either.
I don't think so. Nobody else is doing it. So I know everybody is like, oh, 2 years. Like, that's such a long time for somebody to go without losing. I know, but just think about how much more it's going to mean when he finally does lose and what that's going to do for the person that he loses to.
Yeah, and if you keep him hot and he stays hot and he stays well, what's the word I'm looking for? Like just relevant, for lack of a better term. Like then there's nothing wrong with that at all. Like MLW, we just talked about them. Like Alexander Hammerstone's going on a 2-year reign with the openweight title, and he's the only champion to ever. He's the only person to ever hold that title. And then Jacob Fatu's in the same boat, the world champ, going on 2 years holding that belt.
Hell, imagine if they did do a crossover. You've got like this unstoppable force champion Miro, and in comes Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, I mean, how are you going to book out of that one though? That's the tough thing.
So I don't know, but it would be must watch, would it not?
It would.
You want to talk about selling pay-per-views?
Yeah, geez, oh man. Oh, if you have not seen Jacob Fatu's work, you got to check it out.
I've seen him, and he's something else. Yeah, but if anybody here has not seen him,
I knew you've seen him before. But
yeah, by all means, get a look. All right, let's get a couple more. Won't be surprised if they will put Christian Cage versus Miro. Yeah, Christian Cage actually feels like the Christian Cage might be the right person to finally take the belt off Kenny, right? If he goes far enough, and let's say Kenny even holds the belt for like another 6 months or whatever, maybe by then Christian Cage can have built himself toward it, and there's your babyface champion, and then here comes Miro to come try to get the belt off Christian Cage.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad either, man. That's a good point. Like, yeah, and I said this last week. Maybe I said it last week, was Christian seems like he would be a good one to win the Battle Royal, but I just really want to see his storyline play out where
it's too soon.
Yeah, exactly. Like I want to see it play out more so where he's like chipping away rather than like, boom, he gets immediately boosted to that.
Right. His storyline should be that he's like trying to earn his way in AEW, like fresh start, just like he's a rookie in the business. Mm-hmm. I like that idea, but man, let me tell you, a world title match between Christian Cage and Kenny Omega would be like, I'd buy the pay-per-view 10 times. Now,
would you be all right if Christian was just, I don't want to call him a stepping stone, but just
transitional champion on the way to
not
Miro?
Even no, I'm not. I'm saying like, say he challenges Kenny on Kenny's run and Kenny beats him. Would you be all right with that?
Yeah, it's an age-old tradition, right? The veteran comes into the territory and puts over the younger guy. So I don't see anything wrong with that. That being said, if somebody's going to beat Kenny and have it be like one of those like confetti falls from the ceiling moments, probably Christian Cage.
Yeah, Anthony, I don't think you know Texano, like the original one. I think he was in WCW maybe, but Texano Jr. He's in AAA. He doesn't have a clean partnership with them. How about him as a surprise entrance in the Battle Royal? The issue with that is I don't think a lot of American fans are familiar with Texano Jr. He's got a great look, and I think his presence is very, very good. But I just don't think he's probably what fans would be expecting from a Battle Royal entrant. It's kind of not. I mean, like Joe Henning's got more name cachet, obviously. And stuff like that, but I think it would kind of be like that, where it'd be like you're setting him up for failure if you kind of put him in that role at the moment. Like he would be another guy you have to introduce to the fans gradually.
Dominic, Mike Freeland come up with some savage remarks here. They could introduce Nick Gage in a segment with Britt, where she's working on his candy corn teeth. I think that would be hilarious. And bring Nick Gage in, let him be the special entrant. I mean, he's trending upward after his Dark Side of the Ring debut.
That would be something. Could you imagine it? Oh my God, Nick Gage coming in and fucking with a light tube. Jesus.
Dude, imagine the pop. I feel like Tony Khan would have to have a conversation with him beforehand. Like, hey, let's not fucking murder anybody out there. Like maybe 2 light tubes, and then we get out of the light tube thing for the rest of the match.
I mean, but guys, you guys got me excited to potentially be Mance Warner. I'm kind of amped up now. Like, I'm really hoping it's Mance Warner.
I'll tell you what, it would be something.
I'd love to see it. Oh man.
Well, hey, while we're talking about Cheetah and Britt Baker, let's go ahead and talk about that segment. I gotta be honest, I've never been huge on Cheetah. A good worker, but I think that she lacks the charisma that Britt Baker has. And in my opinion, she lacks the skill of somebody like Thunder Rosa or Serena Deep. She was a good champion, but it's time to put the belt on somebody who's like, as Britt Baker calls herself, the face of the company. I think Britt Baker goes over here handily.
Okay. Obviously Britt Baker's so like top-notch charisma, and in that promo that she did tonight was very, very good. And what she's been doing has been amazing. And I think it's kind of unfair to say about Cheetah right now, because Marcus, she's only 23. And
there's nothing wrong with Cheetah, but maybe that is the problem, is she's only 23.
Well, Marcus, but the other thing too is, like, I think from a skill standpoint, she's very good. I think from her being from Japan, and even just the way she delivers from this when speaking English, I think is pretty damn effective for a babyface. Like, even her just saying simply matter of factly that this title is for you, the fans, seemed genuine, and like I bought into it. And so I wouldn't be as harsh on Cheetah. I get kind of what you're saying. I think she's had she's been a very viable champion, especially during the pandemic. But I think Britt should go over on Sunday. But yeah, I think you gotta be a little bit more easy on Cheetah. Are you still there? Okay, your thing went out. You're back.
That was an accident. So cool look, great skills. I'm not trying to be hard on Cheetah. I think she's wonderful. Certainly has a place on national television and in AEW, but it's the divide between her and as far as skills are concerned, or promos are concerned for that matter. Whenever it comes to Britt Baker or Thunder Rosa or Serena Deep, it's a gulf. It's an ocean between her and them as far as the skills are concerned. And that's not me digging on Cheetah. That's me telling the truth about the situation. I think that Cheetah has a lot of really good years. I think she's going to get better year after year, and she'll probably eventually reach the level that Thunder Rosa has or Serena Deep has in the ring, or she'll get the charisma when she's a little bit older and has a little bit more experience. But to me, she's not there yet, and it's time for AEW to, as they're building their brand, to put their belt on somebody who is a flag bearer, face of the company, somebody who they can merchandise. And those 3 girls that I mentioned are the ones.
Yeah, I mean, like, those are, I think, yeah, I'm with you. You mentioned Serena Deep, Britt, and Thunder Rosa, right?
Yeah, to me, those are the 3 best women in professional wrestling right now, bar none.
I mean, I agree with you. It's hard to, I mean, like, you look at some of I think the women in WWE are extremely good. In Charlotte, like, you look at Charlotte and Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks, but there's that issue of how WWE books them creatively. And I mean, that just comes into play. So, and like Thunder Rosa, though, yeah, can't top her.
Yeah, Luke earlier mentioned Punxsutawney's Own when we're talking about Britt.
Britt was from Punxsy, right?
Yeah, originally from Punxsy. She's my age, so probably when I was playing basketball against Punxsutawney in their school, and there's a good chance that she was there in high school with me. So
Marcus, do you remember? What were they called? What was
they were the Groundhogs, Dominic.
Weren't they called like the Chucks or something like that?
I don't know.
Or the Chunks? I can't remember.
I don't think it was the Chunks, Dominic.
I don't think it was either. They're not fucking referencing Goonies.
Luke is saying the Chucks. Luke, are you from Punxsutawney?
He must be from yeah.
Dominic and I are from Ridgeway, man. So we're
Ridgeway,
pretty
PA.
close.
Yeah,
pretty
See,
close.
I knew it. Thank you, Luke. See, I knew it.
The Chucks.
I rode the pine. With the when we played the Chucks. I rode the pine when we played anybody.
Oh,
Clearfield.
Clearfield. How cool. Our sister lives real close to there right now.
Yeah, man.
Nobody else gives a fuck about
Nobody gives a shit about
Dominic. DJ disagrees about Serena Deep. We don't want to forget about Big Swole. I see a lot of value in Big Swole, especially from a look standpoint. But when it comes to ring skills, she's the current excellence of execution. Serena Deep. She's unbelievable in the ring. Just go back and watch some of her matches and think about Bret Hart while you're watching them, and dude, the similarities are 100% there. DJ said earlier, though, he's saying Cheetah for the win on Sunday. Rebel, not Reba, will screw something up on Sunday. So he's thinking that this will be the turn in the friendship between Britt Baker and Rebel, not Reba.
How would you feel about that? Because it just seems like the right moment to give the belt to Britt, but it also it's
time. It's time for Britt to kind of spoil the party and say okay, Cheetah, you won it last year at Double or Nothing. Not going to keep it this year.
And a year is a hell of a run, too. I mean, you know what? That's one thing you got to think about too. DJ also says put the belt on Abaddon or Ty Conte. Marcus, you still up on the Abaddon using sorcery to manipulate Luchasaurus and
yes,
turn into a sinister minister James Mitchell kind of faction.
Yep. We haven't seen Abaddon in a while, but it doesn't feel like that long ago that she was biting motherfuckers on the neck at ringside, so let's lean into that. I'm not saying let's go full blown zombie like WWE did recently, but I just like the idea of her manipulating Luchasaurus, just basically trying to turn him and putting him in a darker position, making him this menacing big guy who's unpredictable all of a sudden because he's being influenced by this Jezebel in Abaddon. I think it could be a lot of fun,
Marcus, and I think legit sometimes JR's freaked out by Abaddon. I think he said something, or maybe it was Tony, but listen, there's something you can do there where it's just you can make that creepy as shit. Marcus, what's your favorite horror movie? The Insidious?
Insidious, yes.
Does she give you? I don't know the context of what the movie has, but does she kind of give you vibes from that?
So not really, but I'm going to tell you something hilarious. So every night I'm the last one to go to bed in my house, and part of what I do every single night, I go and check all the doors just to make sure that it's locked. And it's no, I just make sure that all the doors are locked. We didn't forget any of them throughout the day as we were coming in and out of the house. And so I walk around, I'm checking all the doors, and all I'm using is my flashlight to get around. And I always picture it never fails. Every time I turn to my dark kitchen with the flashlight, I expect to see Abaddon just standing there.
Pretty creepy.
Specifically Abaddon. I have no idea why that's a thing that keeps happening, but she freaks me. She's gotten in my head, dude. So I think that she could be a real star. Again, it's about positioning. I mean, when's the last time we saw her on national TV? How are we using her? Who are we pairing her with? Her by herself, I don't know that it's got legs to last a really long time. Her paired with somebody like Luchasaurus could be a lot of fun.
Could be a lot of fun, could be very creepy, and obviously I wouldn't want to do too much supernatural stuff, but I think you could pull it off with Abaddon to an extent,
I don't see anything wrong with her. No, she's not a zombie. No, she's not actually dead. But maybe she thinks she is. And she, as a result, is fucking biting people on the neck. I don't see anything wrong with it.
Anthony says, I don't think Thunder Rosa really needs a title to be legitimate. She's one of these people that kind of like The Undertaker that really doesn't need a title to be legitimate. Now, yeah, I see your point. I do. But I think that she's somebody that deserves to be the champ, and it enhances your belt if you have it on Thunder Rosa. So now she's such a fierce competitor that it wouldn't make sense from if you look at somebody like a Roddy Piper who didn't necessarily need the belt to get over. I don't think that. I think Thunder Rosa's over, but I think part of her nature and who she is as a star, it's almost like Marcus, we've compared her to like a big star like Hulk Hogan and stuff like that, where it's like, okay, you have that star, you should put the belt on that person.
Or I always say about her that she could be like a Stone Cold Steve Austin if positioned properly. I really truly see that in her.
Yeah.
And so, did Stone Cold Steve Austin need the belt to be over? No, he was over. But the thing is that the crowd wanted him to be their champion because they liked him so much. And I think it could be the same thing with Thunder Rosa, where it was like there's this slow build. It's like this train that's slowly picking up speed, and everybody's waiting until this train picks up so much speed that it explodes. And that's what happens when you win the title. Like where these fans are like, okay, this train is moving. Like, are we finally going to get there? Is she finally going to win the belt? And when she does, it's like the damn roof is going to come off the arena.
Yeah, and like you look at it, just imagine like if you were to have Steve Austin and then just not put the belt on him, like it just would not make sense.
He didn't need it theoretically, right? He was already super over. But like
where are you going to go?
Putting the belt on him legitimizes the belt. And again, we're coming down to like thinking about merchandising, T-shirts, personal appearances, being on other TV shows. Like she could reach that level easily.
Yeah. Now he says, I would say the title would need her to be elevated, not the other way around. Is that what you're trying to say? Yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to say. Is that like the title gets elevated by her, it being on her. And that, like, because Marcus, we talked about this like for several weeks, like whether it was her against Layla Hirsch or her against somebody else, like they're setting the bar. Like Rosa sets the bar for women's wrestling. So if you put the title on her, boom, it's right there. Like that's the belt being set.
Well, just under this one, Dominic, John has said, who should Thunder Rosa go after? Winner of Serena Deep versus Rio or winner of Britt Baker versus Cheetah? The correct answer in my book is both. I think that first, we need the rubber match between her and Serena Deep. And she has mentioned, she being Thunder Rosa, pronouns pal, she has mentioned a
friend
few
of the
times.
show, Thunder Rosa.
Yes, friend of the show, Thunder Rosa. Dominic and I were fortunate enough to interview her not too long ago. But she mentioned, I think both to us personally and later on Twitter, that she would like to do an Iron Man match against Serena Deep. So I think that should be the ultimate. That's where we go next, is when Serena Deep beats Riho, which I believe she will. I think that it should be Thunder Rosa versus Serena Deep in an Iron Man match. And Thunder Rosa goes over. And now we've got the NWA champion in Thunder Rosa and her arch nemesis, Britt Baker, as the AEW women's champion. And it's like, let's see who's better. Which champion is better?
That sounds like an all-out match, doesn't it?
That does sound like something you'd see it all out, Dominic.
Mm-hmm. Holy cats. Let's see. Anna Jay should go for the title when she comes back. Anna Jay, I like Anna Jay a lot too. She's another one that'll be cool to see back in the mix when things go on. I tell you what, Marcus, you know how big I am on Ty Conte too. I think she's really awesome.
I do know that you like Ty Conti. Luke wants to talk about Miro and Jeff Cobb a little bit. How about Jeff Cobb coming back to come after Miro? Sure, why not?
I like Jeff Cobb. I think it was cool. He was just the mercenary that came in once. I would like to see them do more with it. Obviously, he went to New Japan. But yeah, man, I like Jeff Cobb.
I think if you bring in Jeff Cobb, though, let's have Miro beat him. Let's further cement Miro as this unstoppable force. I want to see.
If you're gonna do that, I wouldn't bring Jeff Cobb in that role.
I don't know why not. He's a mercenary. I want to see Miro go over against Paul White. I want to see him go over again. I want, and it's just hateable, where like Paul White.
I could see them doing a Paul White thing. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Sure.
Where Paul White. I mean, but the thing with Paul White is like, look at what they did with WWE. They that was how he was positioned every fucking time, and it got so worn out. So I don't know if
I just like the idea of him being this unstoppable force, and then Paul White saying, "Hey, I can stop this guy."
Yeah, I get that, but I also just don't think. I think it's just too leaning into Paul White being just fodder. If you're gonna use Paul White, I would probably not use him as fodder.
I say use him as fodder. He's an announcer.
No.
He's an announcer now, Dom. He's not.
But Marcus, I just think WWE did that too much, and I just don't. I think if you want to keep Paul White somewhat relevant and strong, I just don't using him as fodder again, even in somebody that big as Miro. I'm not for that. I don't think it's
strong disagree. Anthony is asking, fuck you. Anthony is asking, Marcus, if AEW decides to debut a hardcore title and they come to you, how would you book that title as the debut? So I don't like the idea of a hardcore title personally in AEW. Reason being that I think that hardcore matches are best when there's a deeper meaning to them, right? Where it's just like, this is this last resort. These guys hate each other so much, and they've been through everything in this rivalry that they're just like, you know what? And no holds barred. Let's just no rules, no referee. Who's the better man? Who's going to be standing at the end of this? I think that's how you should use hardcore matches in pro wrestling. Otherwise, it becomes like the pornography of pro wrestling, right? Just like this cheap, quick hitter like entertainment. That being said, if Tony Khan is like, no, dude, we're doing this. I'm paying you a lot of money. I'm going to twist your arm and let's get this title in here. I think that you bring in somebody like Mance Warner, and have him bring his own title in and come in and say, who can take this thing from me?
That's almost like a beer drinker's title or something.
Exactly. Like he brings in his own title and he's like, who wants to come see if they can get this off of me?
Come on at me. Mm-hmm. I like it. Yep. Damn it, Mance. I hope you're the guy.
Oh, the old Mancer.
Okay. Yeah. Luke says they already have an FTW title and Brian Cage doesn't do shit. Steven Chambers. Like to see Purrazzo and other wrestlers from Impact and AEW spicing things up in the women's division. Yeah, I mean, this is something I've been hollering for weeks on end. Is like Impact has such a great women's division too, and to utilize somebody that's great as Deonna Purrazzo is, you cannot go wrong there. Jordan Grace is another one. Kimber Lee's very, very good. There's a lot of women talent and Impact that could be utilized well.
If you're going to bring any women in to help spice up the division, I think it starts and stops with Mickie James.
Right, and like so, she should definitely be on Tony Khan's tap coming up. You know, there's some talents out there that could be really beneficial. You know, and Mickie James, no doubt, is one of them. You know,
no doubt about it.
How about Okada and Ibushi making some AEW appearances? Yeah, I mean that's. Heck, I think that's what you ultimately want to see are those two guys show up. And Marcus, we didn't even talk about this. That Tony Khan fucking just going right at the throat of WWE right before Dynamite aired tonight.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody's seen it, but in a nutshell, if you're unfamiliar, basically WWE was rumored to be building a relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and so Tony Khan had a little response on Twitter, which I recommend everybody go and watch because it's really entertaining. Apparently he did it in one take, according to Tony Schiavone, which is really cool. But basically he came out and said like, oh, that's interesting. Like this other guy who happens to have the last name Khan in WWE, Nick Khan, he's been allegedly been talking to New Japan. Incredible. He covered so much ground in 2 months when I've built this long-term relationship with them. So he basically just calling them out, saying that they're full of shit. And I just think, I mean, it's cool. And this is kind of what we as fans want, right? We if you're going to wink at me in pro wrestling, I normally don't like being winked at in pro wrestling where you break the fourth wall. But if you are going to wink at me by talking about your competition, which is a big no-no in pro wrestling, ever was for many years.
Yeah. Marcus, I was all for it. People really do take exception to when they see some say it's like low brow or low rent to like try to take digs. Marcus, it gets people hooked doing that kind of shit.
Dude, do you remember Slamboree 1998 where Eric Bischoff is telling Vince McMahon that if he shows up, he'll kick his ass?
And legit, Marcus, I was like, is Vince going to show up?
Me too.
What's going to happen? I mean, obviously, I was 13. But like, I don't know the ins and outs of anything like that at that point. But it's still fucking intriguing. That's what you want to be like. Okay, wow, could we see like Stone Cold come to WCW? Could we see like that's how? But my fucking adolescent brain worked.
And according to Jim Cornette, Vince McMahon wanted to go. He had to be like talked out of it. He was like, "Oh, I will kill him." Anthony also said, and this is something you and I talked about before. How about bringing Rosemary in?
Oh yeah, Marcus, that was your thing,
dude. Rosemary, Abaddon, and Luchasaurus. You get that dinosaur mask off Luchasaurus and get him some creepy ass mask. Put that on,
or paint,
right? Or paint his face.
contact.
Yes, because he's already got those tattoos that already look a little bit creepy. His hair is like 2 different colors. He's got like the green beard thing going on. Like he's sort of a creepy looking dude to begin with. You just add like a couple elements to him, and basically he's under the spell of these two women. Dude, he could be. I would immediately start liking Luchasaurus.
Yeah, Mark. It would be very, very interesting. Marcus, did you hear how much did you hear about the New Japan WWE relationship reported?
Not much, dude. I honestly didn't put a lot of stock into it. To me, it sounds like bullshit. But who knows? I mean, New Japan Pro Wrestling might just be open for business and willing to work with anybody.
With New Japan, Mark, they're trying to get to that American base, and they have New Japan America, but I think they really want to create some waves. But heck, you're going to if you go with either promotion, you're obviously going to make some waves in the United States because those are your 2 big promotions.
Sure.
But yeah, like the part of that report, Marcus, is like, it's like a primary reason for WWE trying to do this reported relationship is so Daniel Bryan could work some New Japan matches, and they want to keep Daniel Bryan in WWE. So that's kind of, I think, what if it's true, that's what they're angling at. Could you imagine, like, okay, the simple reason that they want to keep Daniel Bryan, they're gonna fucking work with a promotion outside of WWE. It's just weird to think like Daniel Bryan has that much pull, brother. He's got that much stroke, because he's a star.
I think Vince is just that afraid of Daniel Bryan wanting to leave and go to AEW. Which, why wouldn't you be? Of course.
Yeah. That's a cool idea by Anthony here. And because it has some history, Marcus, they say bring in former junior heavyweight champions from New Japan. That could be a way to make Rusev more dominant too. Like, I'm kind of thinking more so like you have the New Japan junior heavyweight title, like as the AEW's cruiserweight title. I think that'd be kind of neat because you have the free cachet with it.
Yeah, sure. I think there's a lot of different directions that you can move in as far as getting Rusev over, introducing like a light heavyweight or cruiserweight championship, bringing in some veterans. There's a lot of ways to win. Dominic, you've mentioned before, it's easy to muddy the water though when you've got too much talent on one program, which, by the way, is where AEW is starting a second program. I think later this year might be helpful.
Next year, is it next year? I can't remember.
I don't know. They're going to TBS or some shit. I don't know what's going on, dude.
TBS. So both Dynamite and Rampage will be on TBS. And Rampage is supposed to air the time it did today. Dynamite did tonight, 10 p.m. Friday. So like right after SmackDown. And Eric Bischoff, who was on the show tonight, happened to say that's a great move, like by AEW to do that, because he's like, and if I were AEW, Tony Khan, are you listening? I did the transcription for this thing. He was like, you buy all the local ads for that on WWE SmackDown and be like, hey, after this is done, check out Rampage.
Classic Bischoff.
Like that was his idea, and like how do you beat that? He's like it's a big net gain for AEW to have it on TBS and stuff like that. So pretty neat.
No doubt about it. And I think that they take advantage, and they're just inching their way closer to becoming legit competition.
Wow. Okay. Wow. So thank you guys. Jeez, Rampage starts this August on TBS, says Mike, and then Rampage starts August 13th, Luke says. They both start. Okay. So they both start on TBS in January 2022. Thank you. So, geez, I was way off, huh?
I think it's interesting hearing Eric Bischoff say that he thinks the second program is a good idea because he was so fervently against doing Thunder back in the day when it happened. But different circumstances.
Different circumstances, and heck, Nitro was 3 hours. Dynamite 2.
Yep. I think they can swing it.
And the landscape has changed of how we consume media. So
all right, we gotta move on to some of the final segments of this program. We can continue answering questions along the way, of course. So Dominic, Stu Grayson and Evil Uno taking on the team of All Ego, Ethan Page, and Scorpio Sky. The match was just kind of there for me. So Grayson and Uno were testing my will to remain awake, I think.
But they had some spots, man. You didn't there were some moments
they had some spots, and I'm often impressed by their athleticism. I don't know what it is about them. I'm just not entertained by them. I don't know. Maybe I'm in the minority. I just kind of tune them out. It seems, it was a tune-up match clearly for Page and Sky. Which good, they got the win and they're looking a little bit more legitimate coming in after Sting. Ethan Page hoisting up Evil Uno was quite something to see when he gave him that razor's edge or ego's edge, he called it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I thought that was a real spectacle, but the match was just kind of there, dude.
So I get I get where we're kind of coming from in a way, but I also feel like Uno and Grayson kind of exceeded expectations, for lack of a better phrase, because heck, you were here in the crowd, they were chanting Evil Uno, and they were also, Evil Uno did a beautiful standing Hurricane Rana, and then some of that double team stuff that they did was very, very impressive. I really liked, I'm a Mortal Kombat mark, so when I heard Stu Grayson go, "Get over here," I thought it was fucking cool. And I think that, and you keep that momentum. I think, in the aspect that I think is that was a pleasant surprise to that match, is the Dark Order was over. So I think maybe not with you, but with that crowd they were. So more so than expected, I think.
Yeah, I think more than anything, it's just not my taste. Cool. I'm glad that Evil Uno is making money in wrestling and obviously having some success there. Good for him. I want everybody in this business to come out, rich and comfortable. But if you ask me if I'd rather watch an Evil Uno match or a Brutus the Barber Beefcake match,
Marcus, come on, over
Michael Beefcake, dude.
No, but Beefcake has such go away heat for me. I just,
I think I'd go Beefcake, dude.
No, you're fucking. That's ridiculous.
Dude, he was out there strutting and cutting.
And he could strut and cut his ass right out of my fucking television screen.
All right, you're rubbing your eyes, which is what my daughter does when she gets sleepy. So we can start to wrap this thing up.
Yeah, listen, you asshole, you're the one texting me beforehand. Hey, we gotta make this quick.
I'm all juiced up on iced coffee and Miro right now.
No, Steve and I don't agree with you here. I don't think Dark Order should turn heel unless you do the right, you get a right leader in there. So I'll do a little fancy booking here because I thought about this earlier in the week. Not Ethan Page. EC3 has been doing the Free the Narrative, and he just had his Free the Narrative show, exclusive kind of thing, where he fought Matt Cardona, Marcus, your boy. I think he'd be a great guy to position in the Dark Order as the leader. I think he'd
disagree.
Oh my gosh, why?
EC3's got this really serious gimmick where it's he's trying to reinvent himself, and then he's going to be hanging out with Johnny Hungy. Dominic.
Marcus, that's what I mean, though. Is if you want to make them heel, then that's how you do it.
Oh, and I thought you're saying so let's just bring him in and he can lead this band of goofs.
No, so say you want to turn them heel, this is how you do it. EC3 comes in and controls the narrative, and then kicks out guys like John Silver and Alex Reynolds. But a few of those guys stay, 10 could stay, you could turn him heel, or he could just completely wipe out some of most of the Dark Order and just bring in new people. Where it's this is the Dark Order now, I don't know. I think something like that would be kind of cool. But yeah, if you're gonna keep this Dark Order in the light that they're in right now, I would I don't know. You need the right leader to make them heel, I think. What do you think, Mark?
Well, yeah, if you're gonna go heel and pull moves like that, where he's gonna cut the silliness out of the Dark Order, then I think you might have something. Plus, I would like to see John Silver in a solo run. You want to talk about somebody being fun on the way to in a tournament for a Cruiserweight Championship? I think John Silver and Reynolds could certainly lend to that. So I wouldn't mind an angle like that. It, honestly, it kind of feels like the only way to go. I know you disagreed earlier with Steven saying that our Dark Order should turn heel, but I kind of agree. I liked them better when they were trying to be edgy and they had like those creepy vignettes that they had going on. Like I thought it was pretty cool. And then all of a sudden, once Brody died, which by the way, rest in peace, they sort of kind of went off the rails a little bit for me.
Yeah, I mean, I still think they're trying to find their footing in a lot of ways. It's not, if you're to turn heel, you're still trying to find your footing. If you're staying babyface, you're still trying to find their footing. It doesn't matter how you position them and stuff like that. Like, it's tough. I think it's a tough kind of spot. I think there does need to be some sort of leader there, though.
Well, and Steven had mentioned Eric Redbeard, and I agree with that. I'd like to see him in that position as well. I think it could be him or Page, or not Page, EC3.
Yeah. Well, yeah, EC3 I think would be perfect for it.
Yeah, EC3's got this great intensity. He's got almost like a Punisher gimmick right now, where he's just like kind of out to make a name for himself.
Yeah,
and kind of change wrestling to what he wants it to be. So kind of a pretty cool position to be in. All right, last segment, Dominic. We got Eric Bischoff coming out. We've got the Inner Circle. Kind of in a weird way, felt like they were saying goodbye, right?
It did. You know what? It really did, because like they're like, if this is the last you see of us, like usually when you cut a promo like that, you're not setting it up to be like, hey, we might be lose. This might be the end. This could be. You're usually saying, we're gonna fucking win this thing.
Right. And they had like a cut together video of like their greatest moments and stuff, and it's like, sort of feels like they might break up. I got a feeling that Chris Jericho's getting ready to go on tour with Fozzy, so sort of makes sense for them to do that.
Well, he's hurt too. Like his the arms all. Yeah, I get. Like, it just seems like, to break them up right now, it just doesn't seem like the right thing to do, because they have a fresh new look. They, I think they have a new attitude, and I just think there's maybe still some more momentum. But like, breaking it up, maybe they did run their course. In a lot of ways, if you break them up, they can go their own route as baby faces, and you can maybe maybe keep somebody like Hager as a heel, where I think he lends himself to more being a heel. Although I did like what he said in that promo tonight. Santana, man, dude, that guy is fucking great on the mic.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah,
I think Santana did a great job. I think I don't know. It sort of makes sense to me that they would split up, just because you've already got a strong tag team with Proud and Powerful.
Yeah.
Then I think Jake Hager is going to do just fine on his own if they position well. Guevara's ready to go and start his solo run, and Jericho might be going on tour. So
yeah, I mean, I think that's the big catalyst, is if Jericho's like, going on tour and stuff like that. It'd be tough to like, okay, your leader's not there on a regular basis, so how are you guys a faction necessarily? So I could definitely see it from that.
Actually, what DJ said here a little bit ago, Guevara could go back to heel and cost the group the match. That's sort of what I was thinking of while they were out there. I was like, if they are going to break up, it could be interesting. The last person you'd expect to align himself with MJF would be Guevara. What if he did, though?
Yeah. Okay. Luke says here, Inner Circle going to win, which halts MGF's push for a time, but they will work the kinks out afterwards. Yeah, that makes me think more about it too, is like Inner Circle wins, because listen, if they lose, it's like twice they lose, and then what kind of feud was that almost? But if they win, you have the rubber match. There's still that rubber match, and there's still legs to have a feud down the road, where you're like, you can build to it by like having like what we were talking about before, is like singles matches and feuds in between like certain people in each faction, So there's something to that. And then it kind of leads into the aspect that Anthony pitches here too. How about refreshing the lineup for Inner Circle, having Sammy become the leader for a little bit and bringing someone else to be in the spot that Sammy is in right now? How would you feel about like Sammy taking like an interim role as the leader of Inner Circle?
Well, I don't see anything wrong with that. Sammy is certainly positioned like he's going to be a future superstar. So, if they want to kind of kick that can down the road a little earlier.
Yeah.
Why not?
The more I think about that, I really do like that actually, because like, Chris Jericho could be like, he gets taken out in the Stampede match, so he go bad. And therefore he goes on tour. And then you have Sammy. He'd be like, Sammy, you're the guy right now. You have to take control and make it happen. I believe.
How excited were you when I assume you thought that Eric Bischoff was about to name drop Scott Hall on AEW Dynamite?
I was hoping.
I kind of dropped what I was doing. I was like, he's about to say Scott Hall on AEW Dynamite.
Is he gonna say Scott Hall?
Mm-hmm. I was a little bit bummed out he didn't.
I know.
Dude, so I think about this sometimes. Scott Hall was in AWA, WWF. He was in WCW. He was in ECW for a hot minute. Bring him into AEW, and he's kind of hit them all, man.
He hasn't hit ROH though.
Right, but he was in WCCW. Like he was in the Florida territory. So he's been in New Japan. So it's like, dude, could be pretty sweet. All he's got to do is make one appearance in AEW, and he's been on all the mainstream.
Marcus, it's funny because I think even before Eric kind of was like close to referencing Scott, I was like, I'm seeing Sting on Sunday. It's like, could you imagine if Scott Hall? Like, I've never seen Scott Hall on a show, like at a wrestling show. I've met Scott Hall. I've seen him at convention or like certain things, like the Jake the Snake thing in Philly.
I was behind Scott Hall on an escalator once.
There you go. But like from an actual like wrestling show where he's a part of the show, I've never seen him. So like me, fan of Scott Hall, was thinking like that tonight for sure.
Yeah, it's I knew exactly where your head was when that was happening. Yeah, of course.
You knew. You were like, Dom really wants him to say Scott Hall right now.
Yes, I did. I knew. Marcus, how about the possibly trying to get Brody King to be the new leader of the Dark Order? Sure. Yeah.
So Brody King, though, with the ROH, he's got that own faction. Violence. What's it? Violence. Something.
Which might be why he fits in perfectly, though.
Yeah, but I just don't see that happening. I think he's really locked in with ROH right now, and their faction's pretty darn cool too, with Chris Dickinson, Homicide. Homicide's fucking awesome. And then who's else is in there? There's just one other person. Oh, what's the guy's name? Dang it. I'm gonna kick. Oh, Anthony Deppin, I think that's the guy. Yeah. That's a pretty good faction that they got in ROH, so I don't think they're gonna shift that up too much. I could not see. DJ just said Brock Lesnar to lead the Dark Order.
that would be quite something. Could you imagine Brock Lesnar interacting with Johnny Hungy?
Oh my. What a tandem that would be.
Dominic, Luke said Jericho won't be written off until after All Out. Fozzy's tour doesn't get heavy until September and runs through early October.
There you go. Hey, you know what? He's coming to Pittsburgh too, and I have tickets.
Right. Oh shit, son.
Just saying.
Yeah, well, I will not be joining you. Not my style of music.
Yeah, Fozzy's not mine either, but I figure I'll go and check it out.
Yeah. I don't know. It depends. Like you said, Jericho's arm is hurt, so maybe he has nothing really to. Is that a kayfabe injury, or is he actually hurt?
I think he's actually hurt. I think there was a report that he actually hurt his elbow.
Oh, okay. So well, in any case, Jericho is not a spring chicken either, so I'm sure he would enjoy a little time off. So I don't know. I wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah, true that. Okay, let's wrap it up here. But Anthony says, guys, when do you expect Impact to finally decide to have a major network as their home? Because not everybody has access TV. For example, maybe Paramount Net, TBS. Well, that's not necessarily Impact's choice. Like,
it's a hard sell, dude. If you think about it, back when they were TNA, they kind of had their shot.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't go great. And so now it's yes, they've rebranded, but it's still the same company in a nutshell. So I think that pitching it to a major TV station, like, hey, so this show failed a few times. on a couple different formats, but like not this time. Sign us up. I think a lot of networks would be like, maybe you should stay on Access TV.
Yeah. As far as Impact is concerned, too, I think it's a really, really good product, and they got such a talented roster overall. But I think who they book for the top people can be a little bit questionable. Like Moose, I said this last week. I was like, I don't know how much of Moose's work you've seen. He's very talented in the ring, but there's just nothing there. Like from a standpoint of like, I want to see this guy on my television. His delivery is so flat. It's just not engaging whatsoever. But you have talent on there like W. Morrissey, like formerly Big Cass, who's like really doing some great work on there at the moment. And then you have just a lot of names like Willie Mack, Chris Bay, Jake Something's got such a look and a presence. Like you put a belt on him, like that's a guy you should really be putting your track behind. They went with Moose, and he's just nothing. And like Sami Callihan, he's all right, but it's also like those are two heels you're going with. Like, I'm sorry, Mark, you probably don't know like anything that's going on with Impact in regards to this stuff, but it's just like they got a great roster, and they have those guys that they should be building, but they're not putting their chips behind the right guys. I would make that argument.
Yeah, I don't watch enough of it to really speak intelligently on it, but Luke, I think, made a good point here. I think there's a possibility that AEW could eventually buy them out. You know, if the product isn't doing well, and there's all the talent over there, like Brian Myers, Matt Cardona, and all these people, it's like it would certainly be tempting to buy them if they decide to go up for sale. Anthony has asked, who would you put in the Sammy Guevara spot if Sammy became the leader of the Inner Circle? I'd like to see somebody like a heel version of Griff Garrison or Brian Pillman Jr. You know,
but Marcus, they're staying babyface.
I know, but like, let's say that you're saying that the Inner Circle is staying babyface.
Yeah, why would they turn heel? Like they were just heel since their inception. So now it's like this is a fresh thing as their babyface.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, as far as adding somebody new, I don't know. It's maybe,
yeah, that's a tough thing. I was like,
maybe it could be a spot for Big Shotty Lee or something.
See where's those ties come in. Like I would like to see some sort of tie that like relationship, whether it was a positive or negative relationship that an Inner Circle had with somebody, and then they get incorporated into it. That's a tough thing. You know, maybe if you had a big return or a big debut that people are familiar with the name, you get them in the mix. Maybe that'd be kind of cool. I think Sammy. I don't think Sammy's at that point where it's like you can replace Sammy, like fill that role, because he's still that young talent. He still fills that role. So
right, the young brash guy. And
I think it's cool to put him in the position of like, hey, I'm the interim leader at the moment, but to incorporate somebody to fill his role, I don't know if that would.
Luke is saying, who's Griff Garrison? That's Varsity Blondes, man.
Yeah, Varsity Blondes.
Brian Pillman's tag team partner.
Got big, that good hair, man.
Big tall kid with the great hair.
Yeah. So
Cody, Lance Archer, Sting. I don't know if any of those guys fit.
Yeah, none of those guys really fit. You could maybe, if you handled it right, maybe you could make Cody kind of work, but he's got the Nightmare family and all that stuff. So
yeah, I don't know. And you know, if they lose and Jericho goes away, then the Inner Circle's gone. So do you start a new faction?
Oh, Luke was just making a joke. He was like, it's the Ryback joke.
Oh, okay. How about Ryback as the special entrant in the I knew that was going to be your reaction. Yeah, he puts out some questionable tweets at times. I don't know that Tony Khan has a place for him there.
Like he said he read The Secret, and then he goes against everything about The Secret, like how he handles himself on social media.
Yeah,
Dylan McQueen. I like the name. I don't know too much about him yet, honestly. I haven't seen his work on Dark or Elevation. As far as putting in, again, I just don't think somebody young would fit in the Inner Circle at this moment in time.
In my opinion, if the Inner Circle loses this match and Jericho goes away, the Inner Circle just needs to break up.
Yeah, my prediction is that Inner Circle wins on Sunday, and we still get them.
I think you're probably right. But in any case, Dominic, let's go ahead and wrap it up. We've been doing this for an hour and
This
40
might be
minutes.
our longest show ever, and we fucking started at midnight.
Yeah, it was fun though. It was cool to interact with everybody, hear everybody's opinions. We appreciate you guys joining us tonight. Join us again next week. Dominic, you're on your way to Jacksonville.
I'm en route tomorrow. Flight leaves at 3:30 Pittsburgh, and then I have a little bit of a layover in Charlotte, Flair Country. Woo! And then it's down to Jacksonville, where I'm gonna high five Timmy Tebow. Marcus, I had so many votes on that fucking poll. You would not believe it.
I refuse to vote on it, Dominic.
That's fantastic. My own brother did not support my senseless poll.
Yeah, so you're going to be in the media scrums at this event, right?
I will be, yeah. So hopefully I'll get some questions in. I tend to try to do that. So the scrums are kind of a neat thing, Marcus. I'm such a rugby guy. I just thought of rugby scrums when I first heard media scrums. So I was like, are we gonna fucking lock up here and then fight for the rugby ball, or what's going on? No. But it's a cool aspect. It's a cool aspect of these events is going on.
And hey guys, sometimes they show those scrums after the pay-per-view, so keep your eyes peeled for Dom's bald headed over there.
My bald headed bastard. I might be wearing my newsy cap. I was thinking of what I might be wearing, or my Pirates headband. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
You should get like a fedora with like a press pass.
I have a fedora, but I don't know if it's Grandpa's fedora.
Stick a press pass in there. No, don't wear that. You'll look like a complete asshole.
Loser.
Yeah,
look at that dickhead wearing the fucking fedora. Who the fuck do you think he is?
Let's not do that. Anyways, let's go ahead.
Let's get Luke's shit in. Hey, I don't care. You can senselessly plug yourself on here. Cool. Yeah. Luke 96 on Twitter and Gridiron Ring on YouTube. Be sure to follow and subscribe. Do it, guys. I hope you got good content, Luke. I'm just promoting you there.
Yeah, Luke might have like snuff films or something on there.
We can't be promoting him. But I'll put you over. I like.
No, he's a good Clearfield boy. I'm sure he's.
Oh yeah, Clearfield. Okay, yeah, that's right.
James, late to the party. What's up, bud?
Oh yeah, geez. Holy
we are up late, James, and we're just doing our wrap up. You can follow me at Marcus P. DeAngelo on Twitter. You can follow Dominic at Dominic DeAngelo on Twitter. Yes. You can follow this podcast at 2 Dynamite Dudes. And Dominic and I do another podcast. It'll be 2 weeks off though because of scheduling constraints. It's at WCW Rewritten, where we rewrite WCW. So give that a check out. Real quick, Dominic, let's do our ratings and MVPs. So I didn't think this was a great go-home show before the pay-per-view. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. I'm giving it a 4.8, kind of like right down the middle.
Mark, that's pretty damn low.
Yeah, I didn't think there was anything especially special about it. Most of the match outcomes were predictable. So to me, it's a 4.8, kind of like right in the middle.
Okay. Well, yeah, I don't give ratings, so that's your segment there. But yeah, who's your MVP?
My MVP this week, unquestionably, Miro. Looks like $1 million. It could be the biggest star on the roster.
Okay. This is gonna be a split one here. Wild Things, Eddie and Mox. They weren't even in the ring tonight, but I really liked that promo. I thought it was awesome. So them as a tag team, I like them very much. They're my MVPs this week.
All right, 2 MVPs. It seems unfair, but
I think it's a tag team. What are you gonna do?
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
But hey, guys, we appreciate you joining us. Dominic, do you have anything else you need to get in?
Yeah, real quick. Let's see. Anthony says, I think hopefully this is the question he wants answered. If AEW buys out Impact Wrestling, where do you think AEW will put Impact? That could be their third show, with Rampage being the second. Okay. Too many shows then. It would just be I'd leave Impact. Boy, that's the tough thing. Yes. If you were to buy Impact,
you do it the same way WWE did when they acquired WCW. You acquire their film library and you keep the talent that you want to keep.
Yeah.
That's it.
Maybe you could put it on Twitch, and because Impact is already on Twitch, so maybe you leave it there. But it's a lot of content, and
hot damn, Dominic. James and DJ giving 7.5 and 7.8 out of 10 respectively. They're thinking I came in a little bit low with my 4.8, but
yeah, Mark, I fucking agree with that. If I
no, dude, I'm sticking to it. There was nothing special about this.
You're such a harsh. Your ratings are like, Yeah, they're way. You go to the full tilt, man, on how you feel.
Hey, dude, if they gotta deliver, I'm here
Like
to
7.8 is very high for you for a rating.
I'm here to give honest ratings, Dominic.
Yes.
No, so there was just all the every time they would show matches, and it's like they'd be like, coming up tonight, we got this match. It's like I know who's going over in all those matches. Like it surprised me a little bit.
I mean, how much do you need to be surprised though before?
I don't like it's fine. It's fine for some of them, but like, dude, if I know the outcome of every single match before it airs, where's the fun in that? Also, like a couple flops here and there. So yeah, I wasn't crazy about it, man.
Yeah, Mark. James says you're good keeping it 100.
You damn Skippy. Thanks, James. But all right, Dominic. I gotta go to bed. It's almost 2 a.m. here on the East Coast. Time to go.
Let me plug before I go.
Mm-hmm.
Follow me on Twitter at Dominic DeAngelo. Follow WrestleZone on Twitter at WrestleZone.com. Go to WrestleZone.com for all your wrestling news needs. I interviewed Zicky Dice this week. That should be up next week. Very fun conversation. We talk a lot about production and how important that is for wrestling. And Zicky's all in on that stuff. Yeah, a lot of fun. We talk Quentin Tarantino movies. Yeah, I'm just going to be down in Jacksonville here. It's going to be fun. Looking forward to creating some content for you guys and being on hand for it. So, otherwise,
yeah, follow Dominic on Twitter. You can see like some of his doings down there in Jacksonville. I'm sure he'll post a lot of pictures and whatnot, Dom.
Sure, yeah.
So go ahead and follow Dom on the Twitter. You can follow me if you want. I don't care. We appreciate you guys joining us. Good night, Luke. One last question here. Lucas said, talk about taking time off with Jericho. Does Mox do the same with the baby on the way? I don't know. I think the AEW is pretty friendly whenever it comes to family time. It seems like Tony Khan is more than willing to private jet people where they need to go and make sure that people get adequate time off from the road. So I wouldn't be surprised if Mox hung in there and maybe only made every other week appearances. But sort of makes sense for him to at least take a month off with a newborn.
Yeah, something. I would think he'll take at least a bit of some time. Same with Cody too.
Mm-hmm.
So and maybe that could be like, hey, that could be a reason Cody loses this.
Yeah, Anthony Ogogo is going to rupture his liver and he's got to be out for a while.
He's done. He's done. And then Big Show comes in to try to help him and he gets a liver shot too. And he's like, oh, fuck.
Oh, damn it.
Oh.
Yeah. Jake the Snake gets one. Oh, fuck.
Just like the fucking exploding drummer from Spinal Tap. Happening.
All right, we gotta wrap it up. We're both getting punchy.
Oh, yeah,
guys, thanks for joining us this week on 2 Dynamite Dudes with Attitude. And stay tuned next week. We'll catch you then.
Catch you then, guys. See you in Jacksonville.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.